Today, I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful, simple chocolate flowers. So to start with, we're going to put the center of the flower together. So I have 3 half spheres here. They're hollow half spheres. So we need to put these together. So I'm going to use a heat gun on this metal scraper just to heat it up slightly. You can also use other things like a metal tray in the oven or a hot plate. If you've got a little bit of oozing of chocolate, just go around with your finger and just take that off and then put it to one side to set. So with the other half sphere, we need to turn it upside down and melt the bottom. You may need to give it a little bit of freeze spray just to set it. And if you prefer a little bit more strength in your flour, then you could pipe a little bit of chocolate around it to obviously make it a bit firmer. To give our center of our flower a little bit of depth and color, we're going to use a shimmer powder. This is a red shimmer powder. So before I start making my petals, I'm going to color some chocolate. I'm using Power Flour, which is a fat-based cocoa butter product that you can color white chocolate with. So I'm using a polycarbon mold for these petals. Now if your molds are quite cool, then I suggest you just give them a little bit of heat with a heat gun. So you want to pipe about halfway up, give it a little tap, pipe the red, and then using a kebab stick or a cocktail stick, don't use a knife because you might scratch your molds. Just flick the red through the red chocolate up the side, cleaning every time. And then straight away, on an angle, we want to empty out the chocolate so it comes out the opposite direction of where the red chocolate is. When you still have it on an angle, you need to scrape off before you turn it up the right way. So now I let them set slightly until they go matte finish, then I'll put them in the fridge to set. To release the petals from the mold, I tend to push them from the base upwards, and that will stop the petal at the top breaking. We can now assemble the flower. So I'm going to dip the ends of the petals into the white chocolate and then stick them onto the flower using the freeze spray. I can now put another 5 petals going around in between the first ones I put on. So here we have a lovely simple chocolate flower to make any cake look special. Here is another chocolate flower using different sized sphere molds, starting with the small nearest the center and working my way out to the biggest, and also using a dust color in the mold before I pipe the chocolate. So to make another simple flower, I'm going to show you another technique to make this petal here. I'm going to pipe it onto a little strip of acetate. I don't tend to do too many of them at a time because they will set quite quickly. That's the reason why I'm using a plastic board as well to work on. And then pipe a little bit of the color on top of this, flicking it again and then holding up the acetate so the petals will drip down, and that's what gives you the long petal shape. So now we're going to build the flower. As you can see, I've got another 3 half spheres here, and obviously I've coloured it with a light brushing of the orange chocolate just to give it some depth and some detail. So here we have another 2 designs of using the same technique in slightly different ways. With this one at the front here, I've used a bit of shimmer powder onto the acetate and then done exactly the same technique by using the knife to pull the top of the petal out. And this one is just using dark chocolate onto acetate without putting any knife onto the acetate to pull up the top.